Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us at 7. I'm Tracey McCain.
I'm Caitlin Nuclo. You're watching Eyewitness News here on the Wax. We appreciate that. A lot to talk about this morning. But first, let's get your morning ready and out the door. Meteorologist Jill Gilardi has a check on that forecast because it is a first alert weather day again.
It's kind of like a Thursday, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, in your terms,
Yeah.
you know, when you're off on the weekends, because you're almost a Friday,
We're almost
right?
there.
So this is the last, scorcher. And then we transition to, better feeling air. Well, it will be cooler tomorrow, still muggier, but we're getting there. So we're just got to make it through today, and we're not going to be dealing with feels like temperatures over the century mark. A few isolated storms. Again, first alert weather day today. Tomorrow it shifts to some heavier rain building in that could result in flooding. First alert weather day for that, and then we start to transition Friday, leading to a fantastic weekend. So we're starting off this morning, New London. We just have a few clouds, a little bit of haze out there, and it is 75 degrees. Temperatures generally in the 70s, the exception of just a couple spots in the upper 60s. So as we take a look, if you're going to head for that walk this morning, and it requires you to be on pavement and cement, things like that, it's okay for your pup paws. But you get past 9 to 10 o'clock, it's going to get hotter and hotter. So it's always recommended just, put your hand down, and if it's too hot for your hand, well, it's going to be too hot for their paws. And certainly as we get into the afternoon hours, it's going to get a lot worse, and you've got to find different surfaces to walk your pups on. And as we head out the door, the best time to do anything strenuous, of course, is before 10 o'clock. And as you know, as you step outside in the afternoon, it feels pretty brutal out there. These are just the air temperature in the 90s. Inland and probably near 90 degrees along the shoreline, and you can see that icon at 4 o'clock. Yes, there is a chance for some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms, and some of those could pack a punch. So we're tracking a front building in, nearing us today, and then it brings us some rain and eventually some cooler weather. So we'll get into all those finer details for you coming up a little later in your first alert forecast. Caitlin?
All right, thanks, Jill. Hey, just heard from State Police. This first alert we've been following for you since we came on air at 4:30 in New Britain, 84 westbound, right up by exit 36. The on-ramp there blocked off, still dealing with the right lane closed. So Connecticut State Police saying thankfully no injuries were reported, but this was an overnight tractor-trailer fire. So again, that was first reported about 11:30 last night. Here it is 7:03 on your Wednesday, still very active as you're getting ready to hit the road. So we're not seeing a huge amount of traffic volume through this stretch, which means we're not seeing some delays, which is great. But again, just make sure that you are slowing down and moving over. It's the law here in Connecticut. We're taking you out now in Hartford, 91 north and southbound by Airport Road, here in Meriden, along 691, here in Waterbury by the Mixmaster on 84. So again, we've got nice bright sunshine out there. I know for me yesterday, my AC in the car couldn't really keep up. It's just so hot. No people, no pets left in those vehicles. Give those crews a lot of space to do their job. So hot out on the pavement. Your drive times, though, looking pretty good as you're heading out the door. That's a quick check at your Connecticut Chevy First Alert traffic report, driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
More breaking news to get to now this morning. Former Hartford mayor is running for Congress. He just posted a video on social media this morning. We're talking about Luke.
I'm running for Congress because we have to change the way we're doing things, and we don't have time to wait. I served in Afghanistan.
Okay, so Bronin is running in District 1. He will face 77-year-old Representative John Larson, who is also running to keep his seat in Congress. Bronin served as the mayor of Hartford from 2016 until 2024. He's holding a press conference at Parkville Market in Hartford today at noon to talk more about this.
We have an update to that breaking news along the Pacific coast. Tsunami warnings in Japan and Hawaii have now been downgraded to tsunami advisories.
Other places along the coast are still under warnings. This comes after a massive 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Russia overnight. The tsunami concerns could last anywhere from hours to over a day.
Well, here at home, a family in New Britain is dealing with an unthinkable loss, the death of their 2-year-old, who they say died at his daycare yesterday.
So they tell us that they're heartbroken and they're demanding answers this morning. Your reporter Taylor Knight has more from the New Britain YWCA, where this happened.
Absolutely, Tracy and Caitlin. The YWCA here in New Britain is closed today. You can see this sign up on the front door, closed due to a building emergency. The family tells us that that emergency is the death of their 2-year-old son. Shamira Cook says she dropped her 2-year-old son Santi off at daycare yesterday morning. A couple hours later, she says she got a call that her son was choking on a piece of food, but that he was doing okay. But she says he was not okay. When she arrived at the YWCA, first responders were doing CPR on Santi, and he did not make it. We reached out to New Britain's mayor. We were sent this statement. A 911 call came into the dispatch center at 11:44 a.m. today for a child choking at the YWCA, to which NBFD, NBEMS, and NBPD all responded. We were told to get more information from the YWCA directly. We contacted the CEO, but there's been no response. Now the child's family is devastated.
We need answers. We need answers.
There's no way I could just bury my son without no answers. I need answers. This is too much for one person. I mean, my son barely got the chance to live.
We've been working all morning to get new information about this. We've contacted the New Britain Police Department multiple times, but no one has gotten back to us at this point. Your reporter in New Britain, Taylor Knight, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, this morning we now know when a fallen hero will be laid to rest.
A wake for Planeville firefighter Raymond Maros will be held Friday afternoon, and his funeral is scheduled for Saturday morning.
His fellow firefighters, community members, and state leaders honored him during a ceremony at Planeville High School last night. Mourners left notes and prayers in firefighting boots for his family. The town's fire chief says Maros died doing what he loved and serving and protecting others.
Day in, day out, Ray answered the call unselfishly with a dedication that only a true hero could.
Now he leaves behind his wife, Chris. The Planeville Fire Department's first lieutenant says he was planning to go out with Maros the day he died to celebrate their upcoming anniversary.
Well, this morning, the investigation into what caused Maros' death continues. He was hit by a piece of a fire truck that fell off while he was responding to a house fire early Sunday morning. The medical examiner's office has ruled his death an accident. You can stay with us on air, on our website, and on our mobile app for the latest updates as we continue to follow this story.
Well, very soon we'll likely have to pay more money if you're going to catch a train to New York City because the DOT is proposing some rate hikes.
Your reporter Roger Susanen breaks it all down for us and tells us what's behind these controversial proposals.
Well, the DOT is blaming that familiar boogeyman known as the state's new budget. A spokesperson says the new budget creates a funding deficit, and it appears that commuters will have to take it on the chin to fill in that gap. So let's dig into the details here. The Connecticut DOT is proposing not one, but two separate 5% rate hikes for Metro North trains along the New Haven line. The first would go into effect on September 1st. Right now, a one-way ticket from New Haven to New York City costs $24.50. That would go up to around $26 in September. And if you think that's bad, get a load of this. The second 5% rate hike would be tacked onto your ticket cost starting next July. That means if both increases go into effect, we all will have to pay 10% more if we want to keep riding along the New Haven line. The MTA will discuss the issue at a meeting today, but there's little the agency can do because if they don't agree, services could be cut. So commuters will likely be forced to shell out more money just to get to work. The MTA meeting kicks off in less than 2 hours at 9 a.m. Of course, we'll keep you posted. Reporting in New Haven, I'm your reporter Roger Susanen, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, this morning, officials are considering changes at the Department of Children and Families after a woman allegedly held her stepson captive for 2 decades. DCF says they investigated 6 different reports at the house. They say they also made unannounced visits. Investigators spoke with the children alone, and they say the interviews showed no signs of abuse or neglect. The alleged victim's pediatrician also did not report any concerns. Kimberly Sullivan, the alleged victim's stepmom, has pleaded not guilty to kidnapping and assault charges. She's due in court next month.
Today, we're expecting to learn more about the high school student in New Haven who was detained by immigration officers earlier this week. The 18-year-old was taken into ICE custody while working at a car wash, and officials from the high school say he was not been in any trouble. We reached out to ICE to find out why he was detained, and we're waiting to hear back.
Vince McMahon, the former head of the WWE, is facing a reckless driving charge after a crash in our state. Police say he rear-ended a car while driving on Route 15 in Westport last week. No one was hurt. He's out on bond. He'll appear in court next month.
This morning, we're working to get an update on a man who was badly hurt in a crash in Waterbury. Police say the man was on a motorcycle when it collided with a car on Thomaston Avenue. The other driver was also taken to the hospital, but is expected to be okay.